What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Matty B. Welcome back to the channel, and as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you very much. I know I'm a few days late. I've been busy attending the Haven't Shaved Since Nam National, and I was also at a fair race on Saturday, so I didn't even get to watch the racing from Washougal until yesterday and a little bit this morning. But it was a banger, and we saw Jett get beat. Finally, didn't even have to wad himself down a hill for it to happen. As far as we've seen outdoors, that's as straight up as it gets, and Sexton rode an immaculate race day to make it happen. We had Tomac back on form, Deegan avoids disaster and still salvages a spot on the box, Sushi continues to roll and is now turned into Wasabi after another overall win. We even saw a red flag, new restart procedure, and much more, and we'll get into all that in this video. But before I do, thank you to my channel sponsors, thank you to ASV Inventions and Sirius Studio. I have discount codes and more info in my description, and if you're supporting them, you're supporting me. Also, I'm doing a bike waffle for my 2022 YZ250 Pro Motocross race bike, the same bike that tied with Sexton, the same bike that battled with Deegan, and it could be yours for $100, so I also have the info for that in my description, but let's get into it. First of all, some thoughts on the track. Washougal is badass, such a picturesque location for a national. The Pacific Northwest is sick, trees everywhere, awesome weather, looked like a great crowd, and Washougal is super unique, just in and out of the shadows. They got 12 damn whoops on that track, and we don't even have that in Supercross. But I was a massive fan of the track prep. It looked pretty flat, and you can move around a lot. It wasn't just slot car, rut cross nationals, and it made for some awesome racing. I mean, the beginning of that 450 Moto 2 was some of the best action that I think we've seen all season, and I think the reason for that was just because the guys were able to move wherever they wanted. They weren't just picking a rut and locking into it for 3 to 5 business days. They could move around, they could make moves, they could cut back, do whatever they needed to do, and it made it so entertaining. And then, of course, we had a big crash in the second 450 moto. Thankfully, our guy Anton Nordstrom from Sweden is going to be okay. Just rocked his dome, lost a few brain cells, but sometimes that's in the contract in pro motocross. But on top of that, we also had a brand new red flag restart procedure, and this came to light after Budds Creek 2023 when Hayden Deegan was absolutely checked out, and they red flagged the moto due to Hardy Munoz going TKO, and I think it was like almost halfway through the moto, and then they had to do a full restart based on how the rules were written. But full props to these guys, because the very next weekend at Ironman, they were already testing out this new procedure that was implemented on Saturday. I was on the gate for practice. I was one of the people that got to take part in it, and those guys didn't waste any time. They saw a problem, identified it, and got a fix for it. I hear a lot of people saying, oh, what if John Starling trips, blah, blah, blah. The guy's going to be fine. He's a professional. They've done it before. I mean, what if the 30-card girl trips? What if she stays on the track during the race in Birmingham? Oh, wait. But yeah, I think that's the best way they can do it. I don't really know of any better way, and it worked out just fine. So if you guys have a better idea, by all means, shoot it my way in the comments, but I thought that worked out pretty well. And then there was a massive, scary crash with Jeremy Hand lawn darting himself off of one of those steep downhills. The bike did a 1 in a million pogo stick over the fence, almost into the crowd. I think it barely nicked one girl, but thankfully nobody was injured. Everybody's okay, and that's just one of those, stuff happens kind of thing. That crash could happen 1,000 more times, and that bike probably won't bounce like that, so I don't think there's anything you can really do about that except for hope and pray it doesn't happen again, because it's motorsports, it's dangerous, and that was definitely a very rare thing. But unfortunately, sometimes anything can happen in our sport, but luckily everybody was okay. It's all going to buff out, and yeah, very thankful that that didn't end up any worse. Now we'll get into the results. We'll start with the 250 class. 2-1 for Joe Shimoda. This dude has been on fire this year, and I gotta just go ahead and put my foot right in my mouth, because I was so wrong about this guy heading into the season. I thought he was going to be like a 6th to 8th place guy. I'd kind of written him off. I've had high expectations of Joe Shimoda for a long time, and he just hasn't ever quite delivered on them. So of course, naturally, right when I write him off, he starts crushing it. 2-2 to start the season, a couple of off results, but was still riding awesome. And now he would be 3 overall wins in a row, if not for the loss of rear brake at Millville. I mean, try going down Mount Martin with only your front brakes. I'll wait. But awesome day for Joe Shimoda, fully solidified as the 2nd place guy in this championship. And I think Deegan has like a 40-point lead, but the way that dude rides his bike and the way those Yamahas have been smoking and steaming this summer, you never know what could happen. So if he keeps chipping away and leaving that lead within striking distance, if there's a mechanical or something, then you never know. We could get a crazy last couple of races. And then splitting motos with Wasabi, a 1-2 for Hayden Deegan. And color me shocked that this dude lost at Washougal. I was there when he was in his rookie season and just went absolute beast mode on everybody. Just smoked the field and did the same thing last year. But we all know he's coming in with the leg injuries, had a rough couple of weeks, and still got that first moto win, still averted disaster after Ryder D cross-jumped one of his time. And I'm just kind of kidding about the cross-jump thing. It's just the lines came together. It was sketchier than kindergarten artwork, but luckily nobody got hurt. But Deegan's still looking good for this thing, barring anything crazy. Like a mechanical, like I said. And if you guys listen to this guy on the commercial break when there's no announcers, it almost sounds like he's trying to blow up the whip. I mean, that was full-blown Rev International. But it's how he rides. He gets it done like that. And honestly, fair play to Star for somehow building a bike that somehow withstands all that abuse, because it is mental. 3-4 for a third overall and fastest qualifier from Garrett Marchbanks. Mitch, brother, can you go ahead and sign our guy? Seriously, he is holding down the team right now. Supercross started a little slow, but he ended it with a couple of podiums, and he has been lights out, awesome all outdoor season. The entire rest of the team has been up and down, but he's third overall in points, third overall in SMX points, and he's a solid, steady force in this thing. Of course, he passed 69 people because he's the man-child, he's a big dude, and struggles on the starts a little bit, but man, he's got to have the most passing points out of anybody in the history of the series, and he is crushing it. Fourth overall for Seth Hamaker, awesome bounce back after going to Indonesia, uphill at Millville, but a 7-3 on the box in the second moto, and that's a very positive sign being on the box in Moto 2 when the track is rougher and everybody's more worn out, but he dogged it, got a spot on the box. Here's the heartwarming result of the day, a 5-5 Austin Faulkner. Round of a freaking applause. I have no choice but to do this. I am so happy for this guy. This season has just been one issue after another, one bad race after another. I would think the confidence has had to have taken some hits, and it's just been brutal. It's been nothing like we've been used to seeing Austin Faulkner do, and you can only imagine how he's feeling. You know, he's been racing against guys this year that he's never found himself around in his entire life. But 5-5 for 5th overall, doesn't even just do it off of luck or math. He was consistently in it, fast all day, and you gotta love to see it. I mean, from brain surgery to this comeback where now he's finally starting to find form, I really think that this year was kind of a necessity. He just needed to be there all year and get a base. We've never seen this guy finish all of Supercross and all of Motocross, so if he's able to get through the rest of the season, he will now have a base heading into 2026 that he's never had before. I don't think Faulkner's days of winning are over, and I can tell you this, neither does he. Another awesome day from Dylan Schwartz, 6th overall with a 4.11. Almost got that fastest qualifier from Garrett Marchbanks, and then I thought he was going to get his first spot on the box in Moto 1, but Marchbanks stole that from him too. But on a non-factory team in the outdoors to consistently put yourself in the top 10 is super impressive. Unfortunately, the Supercross resume just isn't quite what he has outdoors, so not sure if we'll see a team take a shot at him or not, but I sure would love to see that. 7th for Mikkel Harup, bummer in the second moto to go down while running up front. But still, a 10-7 on a day where you have a crash, still solid. Now he's up to 5th place in points, which is also super impressive. You know, it's his first time to all these tracks, first time learning this new format, and he's been absolutely awesome. 8th for Handbrake, Max Voland, and oddly enough, I heard in an interview that somebody said Max was getting hand pumped from having to use that hand rear brake on the hard packed, made it a little bit harder for him, but he still was in the top 10. A good second moto for Drew Adams, a 13-6 for 9th overall. He's been pretty hot and cold this season as well, but kind of in the rookie contract. You'll have your highs and you'll have your lows, but the highs have been good, and this kid is uber talented. Stay tuned to Drew Adams in the future. 10th overall, what could have been Ryder D will race him when it's time. And at the beginning of that first 250 moto, it was time. Finally, Ryder D versus Deegan, and it only lasts about 12 seconds because they cross-jumped each other. Ryder D got the bad end of the stick. Deegan barely got away from it. But that was kind of the end of Ryder D running up front on the day, which is a huge bummer. He's always good at Washougal, and that was a good time for him to probably have a standout performance. But you'll have that sometimes on the bigger jobs. Crashes happen, and just glad he's okay. What a bummer day for Levi Kitchen. The dude could hawk a loogie from his house and it would land on the starting line, but he was still only able to grab an 11th. And then a very impressive day for the rookies. Enzo Temmerman, 13th overall in his warm-up for Loretta Lynn's next week. And then 14th, Parker Ross, 15th, Avery Long, 17th, Alex Fedortsov. And I was talking to Daniel Blair about this guy. And he's always been fast, but he's hardly raced in his entire life, so this whole season has just been about getting experience and learning how to race. Somehow, all those guys beat Nate Thrasher, who got 18th overall. I don't know what's going on. 20th for Cullen Park, he made his return for some SMX points, and I hate to say this, but my guy might be too little too late because even after returning to racing, I still think he fell out of the top 20 in those SMX points after the weekend. And then shout out to the local boy, my homie Austin Black gets a 22nd overall, along with my boy Dylan Cunha, made the show, last spot in the LCQ, and I believe that's his first national he's ever made, so huge congratulations, but unfortunately he DNF'd Moto 1 and didn't race Moto 2. I don't know what happened, but I hope he's okay. And then last but not least, in the 250 class, what a bummer for Jalek Swoll to go out of the lead like that in Moto 1. I don't think my guy was stuck under the bike. He wasn't moving at all, and when I get stuck under my bike, I at least try to get out. So it looked like he took a quick nap, and then apparently was told by the medics not to go back out. Jalek said, "Nah fam, I'm good. Line me up, get me back out there." I think he did like 3 or 4 laps and then was black flagged. The Triumph team put out a statement that they're not happy that Jalek wasn't allowed to race, but I mean, from the outside looking in, looked like he went TKO, looked like he went limp, and then got back out there, which is pretty scary as far as head injuries are concerned. So for me, from the outside looking in, and I have no inside info, seems like the right call was made, but again, I'm not on the inside of the situation, and there may be more to it. But either way, I think being safe rather than sorry is always a good call in the concussion department, and I probably should have used my own advice at some point because I have rocked myself so many times, and I just run it. Now we'll switch gears and we'll go into the 450 class results. How about Chase Sexton, man? A 1-2 for the overall. And in a wild event of turns, Jett slides it down in a corner and Chase holds on for the win. Oh, how the turntables. But Chase looked awesome all day. He was just destroying those guys in the back in the shadows and in the whoops before the finish line. And how about that pass around Hunter Lawrence that didn't quite count because of the red flag? I mean, Chase was on it all day. And as I'm watching this, I just cannot believe this guy's going to Kawasaki. He looks unbelievable on the KTM. And I'm kind of a if it ain't broke, don't fix it guy. But like I was just talking about, I'm not in the situation at all. So I'm sure there's a lot more ins and outs that I'm not aware of. But either way, he took down the Jett. And that is only the second time ever that Jett Lawrence has been beat in a 450 motocross race. And that is for sure the most straight up that Jett's ever been beat because at Hangtown, he wadded himself up and he was wounded all day. So he wasn't really much of a factor, but at Washougal, Chase kind of forced him into the mistake, and then the second moto did what he needed to do, put Arlington Triple Crown behind him, and managed to get the overall. And then in second, Jett Lawrence, I predicted that he wouldn't lose again this season, and what do you know, he loses the next moto. And Washougal, I think that's the worst track for the Lawrence brothers and the Honda. That Honda is a little bit rigid, a little bit twitchy, and I think the hard pack kind of exacerbates that. But the dude's an alien. I mean, if you're going to get second on your bad days, you're obviously going to be in a great spot forever. And I already said this, but I'm just going to double down on it. Even though he lost at Washougal, I still don't think he loses the rest of the season. I think Washougal was a prime opportunity for somebody to take it from him, and good on Chase for doing that, but good luck doing it again. Then in third, stoked to see Eli Tomac back on form with a 2-3. Reports are that he took a big swing on the bike setup before Millville, went the wrong way, so was uncomfortable all day, and that's where the struggle came from. But then for Washougal, they took another swing at it, and I guess they were closer with this one because Eli looked really good, but unfortunately just didn't quite have that top end speed to hang with Jett and Chase. It's something I don't really hear people talking about, as I think part of the reason that ET doesn't quite have his top end pace and stability that he used to have outdoors is the new generation Yamaha. It's a little bit more nimble, a little bit more twitchy. It turns a lot better, but that kind of seems a little bit more well suited for Supercross. When it gets super rough and gnarly outdoors, I think the bike is a little bit more twitchy, a little less stable, and has a little bit smaller of a setup window. But 2-3, ET's back. We're hearing that rev limiter banging, and you gotta love to see it. Quiet day for Hunta, a 5-4 for fourth. Maybe his bike was a little bit clapped from the whole shot challenge the day before. But actually, as I say that dude just rocketed it out and got like the biggest hole shot I've ever seen in the second moto. Then in fifth, this might be the most impressive guy in the 450 class for me, RJ Hampshire, a 4-6, and if not for a slide out in the second moto, I kind of think it would have been a 4-4. But it's kind of mind-boggling that you give this guy more power, less traction, and a heavier bike, and he turns into a smooth, steady force. I gotta be real, I couldn't have in my wildest dreams seen this transition going this well. The dude's a dog, and well done, RJ. Quiet 6th for Justin Cooper, the Super Motocross points leader, and he's banged up. wadded himself at Millville, so he's looking forward to this 3-week break that they're about to have. Quiet 7-7 for Justin Barcia, a 9-10 for 8th overall for Valentin Guillot. He's now moved himself into that top 20 for the Super Motocross playoffs. And there is a massive battle for that direct transfer. Top 20 go through, and it's between Harrison, Guillot, Schock, Kulas, and Patrell. 9th overall for Colt 45. He's just kicking it, and he's got a thumb injury, so valiant effort to fight through and put the dinosaur in the top 10. Awesome day for Mitchell Harrison on the PRMX Kawasaki. Honestly, at this point, you might as well give this guy the factory bike with Anderson out, and Prado might as well be out. And Harrison, he's been there all year, Supercross, outdoors, the dude's never wavered, and now he's gotten himself into P19 in the Super Motocross Championship standings. 11th for Hari Kulas, decent day at Washougal, but an even better day at PIR on Thursday night. This dude for sure made way more money on a Thursday than he did on Saturday. PIR every year has a big payout. I think it was $3,000 to win. Money to win the heat race, which he did that as well. So awesome job to Hari Kulas and PIR for putting that event on. And of course, all the privateers for going out and racing and taking advantage of the opportunity. 12th for Mookie, 13th for Lorenzo Lucurcio, who's on a really good run of races right now. And then, this is not going to be good, P14, Jorge Prado. I'm at a loss. I really don't even know what to say anymore. I was so excited for this guy to come over. I figured he'd be in the mix. He's an unbelievable rider, 4-time world champion, unbelievable bike skill. I just wanted to see how this dude rode, and yeah, I don't think we've actually seen Jorge Prado one time this year. I mean, we sure have seen enough of George, but I think we've only seen Jorge for a few minutes at Southwick. And whenever he fades back to like 7th or 8th or even 9th, it's not great. It's not what we expect out of him, and it's not what he can do, but I can at least wrap my mind around that. But yeah, this first moto at Millville last weekend and then the second moto at Washougal, I just can't even fathom how a world champion can ride around in 12th, 13th, or 20th, 21st. I mean, this guy was battling to the death with Brandon Ray and Jeremy Hand, Bryce Shelley. I mean, there are now tons of privateers and guys you would never imagine who in 50 years will be able to tell their grandkids, yeah, dude, I was battling with Jorge Prado at Washougal. Check the results. But my main issue is it seems like he just gives up. That first moto at Millville, he was getting passed, and you could literally visually see it. He just stood up and started riding around. And then second moto at Washougal, you cannot tell me that this guy's battling with Brandon Ray and Jeremy Hand and trying his hardest. I mean, I have experience racing, way lower level than Jorge, and I have some pretty head-scratching rides myself. But this was kind of something that I just thought happened to guys like me who, couldn't make it to the top. I didn't really think world champions were subject to these kind of issues, but I guess they are. A 15th overall for Marshall Welton, back after injury, very solid result. And then my boy Ashton Oudman, 34th overall, makes his local national by winning the LCQ. And then, of course, my boy CJ Tucker on the Beta, 35th overall, DNF'd in Moto 1 and barely made it to the line for Moto 2, but made it happen, no choice. And that, my friends, is all I got for you for Washougal Race Review. As always, let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you agree, disagree, if I'm a cooked unit, if my takes suck, or anything in between. You guys know we're here for all of it. But we got a break, no nationals for 3 weeks, and we'll be at Loretta Lynn's next week. So, yeah, that should be a good thing to hold us over while there's no pro racing. But this is a much-needed break for the boys. They've been grinding all season. Everybody's smoked, and I'm sure they got to be absolutely stoked to get a little bit of vacation time and just a couple weekends off. But again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys next time. No choice.